daughter's desperate search for her birth father. A father's monstrous, forbidden desire. Katie Pladl's homecoming wasn't a tearful embrace, but a twisted, carnal union that birthed a child and unleashed a storm of unimaginable horror. Imagine, the man who gave you life, then defile it. Incest. A child born of abomination. Then, the ultimate betrayal, 3 lives extinguished, including an innocent infant, by the very hand that should have cherished them. This is not a family tragedy, it's a grotesque masterpiece of destruction, painted in blood and fueled by a love so corrupt, it consumed everything in its path. In 1995, a 20-year-old Stephen Pladl initiated contact with 15-year-old Alyssa Garcia online, laying the groundwork for a predatory relationship. Pladl then journeyed to San Antonio, where he persuaded Garcia to leave her home and join him in New York. At 16, Garcia became pregnant. Their first child, Denise Pladl, was born on January 29, 1998, when Garcia was 17. Garcia later recounted severe physical abuse of Denise by Pladl, including pinching that caused extensive bruising and near suffocation by confinement in a cooler. Fearing for her daughter's safety and future, Garcia made the difficult decision to place the 8-month-old Denise for adoption, seeking to provide her with a chance at a better life. The adoption led Denise to Anthony and Kelly Fusco, who renamed her Katie Rose Fusco, and raised her in Dover, New York. Those who knew her described a typical American childhood. Within her adoptive family, Katie found a secure and loving environment, a crucial foundation that would later be tragically shattered. Katie's youth was a typical suburban one, filled with school, friends, and the development of her artistic skills, particularly comic strip drawing. At Dover High School, she was recognized for her talent, and planned to pursue art at Dutchess Community College, aiming for a career in online advertising. Aware of her adoption, she contacted her biological parents, Stephen and Alyssa Pladl, at 18. Despite her adoptive parents' concerns, she moved in with them and their other children in Virginia. However, the Pladl's home was already fractured, with Stephen and Alyssa living separately. Alyssa Pladl described enduring years of emotional and verbal maltreatment from her husband. She recounted a constant state of anxiety, marked by his frequent outbursts and destructive behavior in front of their children. Alyssa privately disclosed to Katie that Stephen had abused her as an infant, a primary factor in her adoption, though Katie seemed unfazed. Stephen Pladl's behavior changed after he met Katie, Alyssa Pladl said. He began wearing skinny jeans and form-fitting shirts. He shaved his beard and let his hair grow long. Approximately 6 weeks into Katie's stay, Stephen began sleeping on her bedroom floor, alarming Alyssa. Upon confronting him, he dismissed her concerns and abruptly left with Katie. This incident prompted Alyssa to leave the home in November 2016, leading to a shared custody arrangement for their remaining children. In May 2017, she learned from her 11-year-old daughter's journal of the incestuous relationship and Katie's pregnancy. Pladl's daughter made drawings of her father and sister with devil horns and tails, writing, "Katie is pregnant. Dad says they feel like couples. Did they get a little too drunk that night? My dad is a slut." In another entry, she wrote, "My dad calls her baby also his baby. Did he make her pregnant? My dad even says she's my stepmom. He doesn't even want me to say or call her sister anymore. They've been through so much," Pladl said. They've been away from their dad and Katie for several months now, so they were kind of in sheer shock when I told them they were dead. Her daughter wrote that she and her sister were told by Stephen Pladl to refer to Katie as their stepmother. I started to become hysterical, and I called him, she said. I said, "Is Katie pregnant with your baby?" He just said, "I thought you knew. We're in love." I started screaming, she said. I was just cursing him out. How could you? You're sick. She's a child. Then she called the police. On July 20, 2017, 2 months after his divorce from Alyssa was finalized, Stephen Pladl married Katie in Parkton, Maryland. They lied on their application, saying they were unrelated, according to records. Katie's adoptive parents posed for a photo on the wedding day along with Stephen, Katie, and Stephen's mother. Katie wears a short black dress. Tony and Kelly Fusco thought there was nothing they could do and had decided it was best to support Katie, said Kerry Gould, Kelly Fusco's brother. Katie gave birth to Bennett on September 1. She and Stephen moved to a house in Knightdale, North Carolina, but finally they were arrested on incest charges in January. After the arrests, Katie moved back with Tony and Kelly Fusco, who declined to comment for this article. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she would travel to her adoptive grandmother's home in Waterbury, Connecticut, Gould said. After Stephen realized that Katie has decided to end their relationship, on April 11, 2018, Stephen ended his 7-month-old child Bennett's life at his home and hid the infant's body in a closet. Bennett was discovered at 9 a.m. the following day during a welfare check and is believed to have died by suffocation. The next day, Katie and Anthony Fusco traveled from Dover, New York, to Waterbury, Connecticut, to visit Katie's adoptive grandmother to clean her house. Knowing this was a routine for her, Stephen traveled to Dover and followed Katie and Anthony's car, and murdered them with his Aero assault-type rifle on their route in New Milford, Connecticut, once they were stopped at a stop sign at the intersection of Route 7 and Route 55. Bystanders reported shots being fired in New Milford, and police discovered Katie and Anthony's bodies in their car.
911, address of the emergency.
Yes. My son just called me, and he told me he, oh my God, killed his baby, and he's in the house. He killed his wife, he killed her father, and I can't even believe this is happening.
Stephen Pladl then called his mother and told her that he had murdered Katie, Anthony, and Bennett. He stated that she shouldn't go into the house and encouraged her to call the police. He explained that a key was left under the mat for easier entry. Stephen was found dead bulletin suicide in his van in Dover, 18 miles from the shooting site. His mother called police, who found Bennett dead in Stephen's home. Speaking at a press conference Wednesday, Knightdale Police Chief Lawrence Capps confirmed the victims killed in the pickup truck were Katie Pladl and her adoptive father 56-year-old Anthony Fusco, and that the man who killed himself in New York was Stephen Pladl. Knightdale Police confirmed to CrimeSider that Stephen Pladl is suspected in the death of his infant son in North Carolina. The 3 victims were buried in St. Charles Cemetery, Dover Plains, New York. As devastating as it was to learn that her daughter was killed, Alicia Pladl said she was also deeply distressed by the slaying of Katie's adoptive father. "I just know he wanted to protect Katie," she said. "He loved her." The adoptive parents, Anthony and Kelly Fusco, were just very kind and open-hearted people, her dad especially, Alicia said. "When they found out she had reunited with us, they invited us to her high school graduation, which was really amazing of them. They were just so ready to have us as a part of the family at that point." Alicia said she had been waiting 18 years to have a relationship with her daughter, and her former husband destroyed it. Katie was smart, unique, and beautiful, and it was her dream to become a graphic artist. She was planning to go to college to get some type of art. When she met us, she decided she wanted to spend some time in Richmond to get to know all of us, and so college was put on hold for a while. Alicia said her priority now is to help her two younger daughters, 8 and 12, deal with the calamity that has upended their young lives. A particularly shocking aspect of the Stephen Pladl case is the sequence of events that unfolded, highlighting a disturbing level of premeditation and violence. Here's a breakdown of a very shocking component: the calculated nature of the murders. Stephen Pladl's actions were not a spontaneous outburst. He systematically murdered his infant son, Bennett, then traveled to Connecticut to kill his daughter/wife, Katie Pladl, and her adoptive father, Anthony Fusco. This multi-state rampage demonstrates a disturbing level of planning. Stephen Pladl's actions were not a sudden, impulsive act of violence, but rather a carefully planned and executed series of murders. Motivated by a twisted sense of possession and control, he systematically eliminated those he perceived as threats to his deeply deviant relationship with his daughter. The case highlights the devastating consequences of unchecked obsession and the horrific potential for violence within familial structures. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of recognizing and addressing the warning signs of mental instability and the devastating impact of incestuous relationships.